Hi, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Welcome back to Chambersburg Community Theater's virtual reunion series. My name is Kelly Kozlowski. I am the managing director of CCT, and tonight we have a very, very special edition of our virtual reunion series. In honor of Valentine's Day, we are taking a look back and having a fabulous roundtable discussion with some of CCT's favorite couples. The beauty of theater is the love that people share within the shows and within the stories. Think of some of the greatest love stories of all times. You've got Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet and Antony and Cleopatra. You move over to the musical world and you've got Harold Hill and Marian the Librarian and Captain Von Trapp and Maria. But sometimes, if you're very, very lucky, you get to find love in real life on the stage. And tonight, I have 3 origin stories for you of couples that have met through Chambersburg Community Theater. So without further ado, please welcome Jean and Sally Harrett, Jeff Leinbach and Sid Tokar, and Lynn Newman to tell their stories. Oh God!
We're on.
Didn't mean to interrupt, guys.
They're newly engaged.
Yes.
So,
that's right. We wouldn't be doing something
like
that.
Our relatively new couple. There are engaged couple, and then we have married couples. So we get all the, yes, you got to flash the bling. Yeah. We've got all the stories for you. So first of all,
flashing the bling.
Okay.
Yep,
I don't know what the camera
is. Flash your bling too. First of all, let me say cheers to all of you. Cheers to love, cheers to theater, and cheers to a wonderful evening of fun stories.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
All right. So the best part about these stories is figuring out how they started. So Lynn, why don't we start with you? Share with us your love origin story through CCT with your wonderful husband, John.
Okay, first of all, we'll be married 49 years this year.
Wow.
I have been with community theater since I was 7 years old. My parents helped start the theater. And then when I was in high school, I met John. He was in a play. He was in Bye Bye Birdie. He played the young boy who sings. I forget his name. Isn't that terrible?
Hugo? Was he Hugo?
Hugo.
Okay,
Peabody.
awesome.
And his mother was the mother of the agent.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I was an usher. And we met again about 9 years after that. I had been in an automobile accident and had to come home. And I was bored to tears. So my mother suggested that I go help build a set because that's what I like to do. I always liked backstage. Mm-hmm. And my husband, John, was the lead of Who Was That Lady? And we met then, and 4 months later, we were married.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. And we worked together. The first play we really worked on together that we built together, he did My Fair Lady, and I helped. I was 4 months pregnant when we did it.
With Jessica or with Logan?
Kids, yeah. And
yeah,
I am, I guess,
they're not twins, but okay.
Yeah. Logan, and then I also built with Jessica. Jessica was 6 weeks old when we brought her in with us. We were doing The Boyfriend.
Oh.
And I never saw her. I brought her in and put her in a crib because we were putting the set up. And every time I looked around, somebody was carrying her around somewhere. But theater has always been a very important part of our lives because we've known each other through it. And of course, in mine, I built sets for, 12 years or so until my kids got a little older and it got crazy. But, and I always built set and was stage manager. I did play one part. John was always in the lead. He always had leads. He's a good actor. I am not. But I did an Irish landlady, or Shara Bigora, in music no, in Showboat, and I cannot carry a tune. I absolutely can't. So I got to sing off stage in Harvey.
Oh, nice.
At the very opening of the show. But we were in theater a long time together. My kids were in it after us. And my granddaughter, Claudia, has been in plays. She's like the 4th generation.
I know. And it bears repeating that your lovely daughter, Jessica, is one of our board members and is stage manages a number of our shows. So she is carrying on your CCT legacy.
Well, both my kids were very young. We would bring them when we were building sets. I'd put them in old clothes, give them a paintbrush and a flat and said, here, paint. So they're 2 years old. But they had a good time and we could keep them with us that way. So there's a Yiddish word, schlepp, which means just to drag along. We schlepped them everywhere with us. So they were very young.
There's no better way to fall in love with theater than to schlepp.
Yeah.
To get schlepped there.
And John built a number of sets. I directed a couple plays and he built my sets for me. So, we always work together. And I can't give advice on how to be happily married. I do it, but by always trying to understand the other person's side before I tell him he's wrong.
Love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Such a great story.
But, yeah, we get along very well. He loves antiques, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told you earlier, it really is good for me because he deals in antiques. So the older I get, the more he loves me. Older is better. But I was not at all interested in antiques before we got married, but I got interested in his stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I try to, if I had any advice, it's always to sort of be together, be interested in each other.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. That was a phenomenal story. We love good stories. How about the Harrods?
Go ahead.
Miss Sally and Mr. Gene.
Well, he usually tells the story, but I'll give you a little background to the story and then he can take it over.
You can talk about your part.
You're so generous, Gene. You're so kind to let her
Here's
start.
the thing. The reason we have this longevity is because I never interrupt when she's talking. Go ahead.
Smart man.
Yeah. Well, anyway. My very first experience with CCT was when I was 5 years old and my dad was in South Pacific the first time CCT did South Pacific. He was in the chorus and my mom took my 3 sisters and I to the show to see it. And so that's when I first found out about it. And then I actually auditioned for The Boyfriend, Lynn, when I was a teenager, but I didn't get cast.
I helped
that
put
was the only time.
I helped put makeup on for South Pacific.
Yes. Oh, in the early years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Rosedale.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was at Central.
Was it at Central?
It was.
Yeah, it was. That was Dick Angle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was then later, the second time CCT did South Pacific, I was in it at the Capitol Theater, as was my brother. And my dad auditioned and got a part, and then he decided he was too old and he couldn't handle it. Although he's younger than I am now, so go figure. But anyway, but I never really got involved with the CCT production until after I graduated from college. And my first production was Guys and Dolls. I was in the chorus of Guys and Dolls. And of course, many years later, when Kelly directed it, I was whoever I was.
Whoever I was. And incidentally, John Newman was the police officer in that production.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
was
and
not
Logan
supposed
was
to be in that show until Jessica called him. Jessica, Lynn's daughter, was my stage manager, and I couldn't find a police officer. And she was like, I'll make my dad do it. And I was like, okay. And she just called, and there was no question. It was just, Dad, you're doing this. You're coming to rehearsal next Tuesday.
Yeah. And he did.
He enjoyed it.
And I had a little scene at the end, and it was wonderful. And
perfect.
And Sid was involved in that too. So it was like, you know, the way it all goes.
The first the South Pacific that they did at Capitol, Jessica and Logan were in, because Logan was a sailor.
Okay.
Because they were in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
All comes.
I forgot they were in it. There were, I was like an anomaly.
And John was in it. He played the. He never. If I sing bad, my husband is like 10 times worse. He not only does not know how to carry a tune, he doesn't know what a beat is. You know, he's always 3 beats behind. But he played the butler in South Pacific.
That's right.
I mean.
All right. So finish your story, Sally.
So anyway, that was my first show was Guys and Dolls, and the next show I auditioned for was Scrooge. That, like, we did Guys and Dolls in September, and like November I auditioned for Scrooge. And the reason I got into Guys and Dolls because I couldn't find a job after college, and I was bored to tears.
Can I finish this now?
I was looking for something to do. So now it's Jean's turn.
Here we go. I actually was going through a divorce, and I was a single parent of our daughter, and went to Guys and Dolls because a girl I was dating at the time was also in the chorus of Guys and Dolls. And Sally's brother happened to be sitting in front of us. And how did I forget how I knew Ray from something else, but you know, what are you doing here? He said, my sister's in here. Okay, hello. And that was pretty much it, except that the girl I was dating had said to Andy, our daughter at the time, and she says, would you be interested in getting involved in the theater sometime if they had a part for kids? And I think she was maybe 10 by that time, 9, 10. It said, oh, yeah. So come Scrooge, the girl I was dating called and said, Andy, there's a part for kids. They're looking for urchins. And okay, I'd like to try out. So I took her up to try out for Scrooge. And I sat in the corner and she tried out for Scrooge. And the director came over to me and said, would you like to try out? And I tried to explain that I'm going through a divorce. I've got enough rejection in my life. I really don't. But she, she ended up casting our daughter as an urchin. And actually Sally's brother, Ray, was also cast as an urchin. And I was cast as Mrs. Fezziwig. Mr. Fezziwig.
Oh, I was going to say, this sounds like a fun production.
I have to
I was really interested in that one.
Yeah. I have to go through the closet and throw that costume out. But I was Mr. Fezziwig, and we go to the first rehearsal, and there was a part for a little dance and a little song. And that's when they discovered that I can neither dance nor sing, but it was too late. I was already cast. And the girl that was Mrs. Fezziwig was somewhat heavy set. And we did this little dance thing. And at the end of it, I said, do you mind if I lead the next time? So, I'm so sorry. I said, I'm joking. I can't dance. Don't worry about it. The next night, she wasn't there. And there was a new person playing Mrs. Fezziwig. Now the new person playing Mrs. Fezziwig, and some of you know her, it was Lori Jarosky. Lori Jarosky was a student of mine when I taught junior high school. So we had a great time with the teacher, student, Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig thing. Did the whole thing, and we just had a great time with it. Come the next, Annie was the next show where there was kids available. So I took my daughter up, and she didn't get a part, but I did.
Oh.
Now my part was in the chorus, where, much like Lynn, they didn't put me off stage, but they could drown me out. So that part was good. And I also played the apple seller. They still talk about that role as I walked across stage yelling, apples, apples. You know.
I've even heard about that.
Yeah, I don't doubt
that. The
yes.
The Tony Award worthy.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
Of Jean Harrod as the apple seller.
Yeah. So also cast in Annie was Sally. And Sally was cast as Lily. And I'm kind of, at that time, mid-30s, and I'm looking at the rehearsals. I'm watching Sally and going, all right, am I coming across as a pedophile if I lust after this woman? And is she a woman? That kind of thing. So I kind of watched all of that through the rehearsals, made a couple of half-hearted stabs at trying to be noticed, and she wasn't paying any attention, but that's all right. I'm an older person, and she may not be 18 yet. So it wasn't until a cast party toward the end of the show, night before the end of the show, actually, I think, that got to talking with her along with a bunch of other people to discover that, okay, she's a college graduate. I don't feel quite as perverted as I, may have felt at the beginning of this. So I asked, tried to ask her out to breakfast. She said, no, I have to go to church tomorrow. And I thought, well, that's going to ruin it. She's one of those.
Plus we had a matinee.
Well, they had a matinee, but so did I. But at any rate, she couldn't go out for coffee or anything. So, but we're cleaning up. We're breaking set after the matinee the next day. And I invited her out to my place. I said, why don't you come out? We'll get to know each other. We'll have dinner. And this was like Memorial Day. I said, okay. So she comes out and we start to, talk, and I had prepared dinner. And I should tell you, now this didn't work, but I should tell you why I would have invited her or any other woman out for dinner. A good friend of mine who helped me through my divorce, and I later helped him through his second divorce. He gave me some advice. He said, look, it's all well and good to take them out to dinner. But if you make dinner for them, and if you prepare dinner for them, first of all, they'll be impressed by that, hopefully. And secondly, dinner may be 20 miles from their bedroom. If you do it at home, maybe it's 20 feet. And I thought, what a great idea. And as I said, it didn't work, but it was, I took my shot. Anyhow.
Oh my God.
So we started dating.
This is now my favorite story. I'm sorry I didn't interrupt, but this is officially my favorite story ever. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's not over.
It is. So yeah, no.
All right.
We start dating, and we're, I don't know, a couple of weeks into a month or whatever. And Sally says to me, do you remember who played Mrs. Fezziwig? And I said, oh yeah, that was Lori Jarosky. She had been a student of mine when she was in junior high school. And she said, no, the first one. I said, I don't really remember her name. I don't know that I ever knew her name, but she was, heavy set. And I remember saying, do you mind if I lead the next time? And Sally says, that was me. She had lost, 25
pounds.
25 pounds. And I thought I had lost every chance I had.
You charm her.
Oh,
yeah, aren't I?
Yeah.
So anyhow, we've been married now 34 years.
34 years.
And she's a tolerant individual, and I think that's part of the longevity. Communication. We talk occasionally.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But that's our story. That's how we got together, because I was lusting after a younger woman.
And we since then have done
a
number of plays together. he was usually Lori Baker's husband for the first 3 or 4 shows that we did together. And one time in the 34 years since we got married, and a couple years before that we started dating, he actually played my husband once. And
I'm not certain, but I think Lynn actually gave me some advice on how I can come on to stage better at one point. And I'm not sure I did it right, but I did accept the advice. And I think if I had to do that again, I'd probably do what you told me to do, because I was never successful any other time. But that's our story.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
all right, so Jeff and Sid, you have to top that now. No pressure.
Go for it, hon.
I just want to turn off the camera and grab some more.
Wait. I like how you just like handed that off, Jeff. Go for it, hon.
I can't top that story. I'll leave it up to her.
No, that's the secret of longevity. Let her talk.
Yeah, you notice how it worked.
He did. He let you talk first, and then he took over. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well,
have at it.
You were with CCT first, so you go ahead and start.
Yeah, my relationship with CCT started with Guys and Dolls.
Thanks to my show.
Yay! Thanks to Jessica Dubell, aka Newman, and she dragged me in because your husband Durand couldn't work the rail for the whole run of the show. So she's like, "Oh my God, I need somebody. What do you know about theater?" We were working together at Target at the time, and I was like, "Well, I have about 12 years of theater background from where I used to live." And she's like, "I'll take it." Next thing
it was my husband's fault. My husband screwed it all up, and hence why we ended up with Sid Tokar. So thank goodness for once in my life that my husband screwed something up.
Yes, because she also knew how to do a costume plot, which I was trying to do and had never done it before.
Well, you should have known. These kids don't always know, Kelly.
I know, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that
was clean your ear.
Covering it up.
I'm sorry, Sid. Go ahead.
So that was in May of. So it was the end of that one season. I can't even remember what year it was. 5 years, 6 years ago now. And then so. Over the summer, I was contemplating, do I want to get back into acting or do I want to stick with behind the scenes stuff? And then I found out CCT was doing The Wizard of Oz. So I thought, I'll take a chance, I'll audition, we'll see what happens. If nothing else, I'll build a set or sew a costume. So fast forward, auditions, we get in the show. This guy starts bugging me during rehearsals.
I did no such thing.
We get to chatting.
Here we go.
As it turned out, he did not have Wi-Fi in his apartment, so he wasn't getting the emails on a regular basis about rehearsals. And I said, give me your phone number. I'll text you, if there's any change or anything you need to know.
Smooth. That was smooth. Take note, folks. Take note. That was smooth.
Yeah. So I had a reason to text him pretty much every day. And then we talked a lot during rehearsals and got shushed out of rehearsals maybe once or twice, and he asked me out and I said no, I'm not dating anyone involved in the show, because if we edit nothing works out, it could ruin the whole show experience for me. So absolutely nothing's happening until the show closes, and we now haven't stopped since.
Yeah, now I came to it. I moved to Chambersburg by myself after my divorce, and I was looking for something to do, happened to see a notice about CCT doing The Wizard of Oz. And I was like, hey, I did that in high school. Let's do that. That was fun. Let's do that again. And I went and got part of the ensemble. And I think Sid hit me up. She said, what do you know about tools? And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I have tools. And she goes, okay, you're ahead of most of them. So
what do you know about tools?
Clever.
And
smooth.
After I had hit on the director, which for some reason is not a good idea, and she said no. I
write her thank you notes once in a while.
It was pretty much I don't dance either, Gene, and so Sid was like, "Oh, come on, it's fun." Yeah, and she tried to help me through it, and I guess I fumbled through some of it and backed out of all the rest. But so yeah, she wouldn't go out with me till after the show was over. So we waited till after the show was over, and
I think it was a week after closing, I finally called him and I said, "Are you going to ask me out now or what?" And he's like, "What?" So I said, "Okay, movies Friday. You're picking me up."
Yeah. So I guess our secret of longevity is just for me to be totally passive while she's the aggressive part. But no, we ended up much later. Months later, moving in together, and
3 months,
and then
much later.
Just this last December, we after we bought a house and everything, we decided, oh heck, let's get engaged. So we're engaged, and we're probably going to get married in about a month or so.
Yeah.
This passive aggressive thing, do you keep like handcuffs in the bed, the nightstand at the bed, or I'm sorry, that was a secret.
They were there when
They were there when you got there. Okay.
Yeah.
Came with the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of realtors will point that out. Yes.
We bought the nightstand used. They were in there. What could we?
Right.
And
as long as they were oiled and working, yeah.
Exactly.
Hate to waste them. So
now that we've gotten your phenomenal origin stories, which all 3 stories are gold, so thank you. All 3 of you have long-standing relationships. You came into these relationships because of the love of theater. What kind of traits do you think that theater gives to a good relationship? Like, what are some things that like make you a good actor, a good theater person that translates into a good relationship?
Jeff called it earlier. Jeff called it earlier. He said they can pretend to like you.
Yeah. I think the thing about theater is you get to know people first a lot of times as friends. You're all working together. You get to know the person, and it's more than just that that flash of, oh my God, I'm in love type thing. Mm-hmm. It builds a much stronger relationship because you're working together, and you're not working together at a job. So, none of us are getting paid, so we can also say, I can't come tonight.
And I think it breaks down barriers because you automatically know you've already got at least one thing in common, that you love the theater. Uh-huh. And if anybody who's worked backstage or had to, change outfits backstage, you lose a lot of those barriers right away. So, you're real, and it's a common experience. So it starts you off on the right.
Yeah.
When my daughter was growing up, one of the things she said in high school to me, which I thought was a pretty perceptive question, she goes, when you get out of school, how do you meet people? That kind of thing. And I said, well, outside of hanging out in bars, which was never my deal, I said, I think what you want to do is pursue your own activities, pursue the things that you enjoy. And with that, you will probably find other people that enjoy those same activities. With a little luck, you'll find somebody who you can enjoy a long-term relationship with, which is certainly how we got together, and everybody else here at the same time. You pursued the things that you enjoyed, the things that you came, and in my case, came to love. I mean, I'd done a theater in high school, but beyond that, I hadn't. Mm-hmm. So we have just enjoyed theater, period. I thought Jeff left. I thought I was born. Okay. Like everybody else I talked to. Okay. Anyhow, that was what my thought on it is. We enjoy something together.
And I think the other thing is, going back, as I was thinking, when you're working with someone, especially on stage, you have to learn to trust them.
Definitely.
In a lot of ways. I mean, you got to trust that they're going to know their lines. And if you go up on a line, they're going to have your back, and you're going to do. So if you can find somebody that you can really trust, I think that's important. And again, you know, you're sharing a love of something. It's something you both love to do, and you can support each other because you know what theater is. You know, there's a lot of rejection in theater, but you'll boost each other up when it doesn't go quite what you wanted, but you can boost each other up too when it does go, when you get the part you want and the other person maybe doesn't get the part they want. You know, you can support each other and trust each other. And I think that's something that you learn, you get from theater, whether it's a long-term relationship or just friendship. You know, that's just something I think that's
well, you know, when I first came back to Chambersburg and I went to work with who was that lady? I came in because the lady who was building the set was having trouble getting it together, and I had already built sets. I had done it when I was a kid because my father used to do it. And I met her and I met John, and she's become my best friend. We have been together as friends for almost 50 years. And she and her husband, he's since passed away, but we were all very close. And then John and I, it really gave us something that we could talk about. And the more you talk to someone, the more it makes you close. And I agree. If you like looking at the stars, you try to join a club that, you know, that likes to look at, people like to look at stars. You do something. If you're looking to meet someone, you do something that brings you together right away, that you're both interested in. It really helps in getting to know the person.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I mean, at least.
Yeah. So one more thing before we.
And then. No,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then you bring up your kids out there too. I mean, I brought my kids up in theater.
Yeah.
And both of them have a minor in theater.
Absolutely.
Jessica's actually got a major, but Logan did.
Jessica's an overachiever.
I don't know. For me, theater is just wonderful. Whether I never wanted to be on stage. I'm very uncomfortable on stage. I'm not comfortable being anybody but me. John has a wonderful facility to be anybody you ask him to be. I don't know if that's trustworthy or not, but
great sales.
But I'm uncomfortable.
This is great sales pitch.
I prefer. I always did makeup and lights and sets. Sometimes all three. When I was involved in theater years and years ago.
So
I mean, I built sets for 20 plays.
That's awesome. So my last question for all of you is, you all have these wonderful stories. You've all had these wonderful relationships. And yes, it's, you know, nothing's ever easy and it takes work. But what is your advice? What's your relationship advice to the new couples that on the next production may meet the love of their lives? What do you want someone coming into a production, or, you know, to take away? What's your one piece of advice?
Don't immediately reach out and try to touch them. They could be younger than. Sorry.
We're done.
Don't
I
break
can't
any
top that.
laws.
Thank you all
Yeah,
so much. Have a good evening.
I don't know. Don't do what I did, which was every time they were looking for either John or myself, we were in a corner somewhere.
See there, that's worse than what I was, at least restraining myself.
No, I think being together, give yourself a chance to know each other outside the play. I agree with Sid. Enjoy each other's company, but keep it sort of on a facile level until you leave the play, and then you can see, because a lot of people, just being in the play, just being together, gives you a false sense of closeness.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to wait till after the play is over to see if it'll last.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
If that closeness is something real or was it just in the moment?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree.
Because you get that a lot when you're in something. What you get is, now I'm not a good one to say it because honest to God, we started dating and I spent a lot of time in corners.
You want to have a romance, not a showmance.
Yes,
Whoa.
exactly.
Listen to her.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Because, you know, everybody's emotions are so up when you're doing a play anyways. And the closer you get to being on stage and getting on stage, I mean, it all those endorphins go out of, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's, if you want to then dial it down a little, go out and be friends after the play.
Out in the real world somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse, what about you guys? What's your advice? You're the new ones comparatively speaking. So what's your?
I think that you know, even though you know you're acting and putting on this make-believe world, I think the important thing is to be genuine. You know, we both have a pretty good sense of humor. We spend a lot of time laughing at the things each other does, and in a good way. But there weren't any false pretenses. We just were who we were and realized that we liked that about each other.
I think one of the things that you learn in theater and being on stage is an awareness of your surroundings and awareness of what other people are thinking and feeling and doing and where they are in that moment. And if you take those skills into a relationship, you can know more about each other just by being with each other. You know, like I know immediately when he's had a bad day. So I know that there are certain subjects to stay away from. I don't know. And the trust that Sally was talking about, you bring that into the relationship when you build that trust together on stage. And
and you know, the lessons that you learn, things might not always go perfectly, but you've got to see the end result and, you know, struggle through the adversity because, you know, it's all worth it.
And if you're in a show and the show doesn't go perfectly, you have another chance. If you're in a relationship and you have a bad day together, maybe you have an argument, don't go to bed angry, first of all. But tomorrow's another day. Pick it up again. Start over.
I haven't slept in 72 hours.
I know what you mean. And you can keep a fight going that long. That's what's nice.
Very true.
See, I feel so guilty. John and I very seldom argue.
We don't.
I don't know why.
No, we don't either.
We don't argue either. I say what I think, and that's where it stands. And she's really good about just letting me think that I've won. So.
Well, sure, that's what I said. I always ask John, "What do you think?" and he'll tell me, and then I'll do what I think.
There you go.
That pretty much.
But
works.
at least I think in any relationship, and I mean, we will be married in July. We'll be married 49 years, and that, when I think about it, is a heck of a long time. I never think of it. Do you know what I have discovered? John is my absolute best friend. My happiest years have been the years that I've been married to him.
Yep.
And that's what counts. I mean, but he is, I can tell him anything. He doesn't judge me. And that's what you want. You want someone who accepts you for who you are. There's a thing. A woman marries a man for who he is. She changes him to who she thinks he should be, and then divorces him because he's not what he once was.
Yeah.
And, you know, the truth is,
like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Accept a person for who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be happy with who they are. I mean, you're not going to like everything about the other person, but you learn to adapt. I am a person who
That's
goes
where
to
the
bed
acting
at 1
comes
o'clock
in.
at night.
Exactly. That's where the acting comes in.
Yes.
That's where the acting comes in, folks.
Oh, honey, that's so nice that you're doing that.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Thank you for telling us your love stories. Thank you for joining this exciting virtual reunion series. If you enjoyed tonight's virtual reunion series, please make sure that you're following CCT on social media. If you'd like to make a donation to Chambersburg Community Theater, you can go to www.cctonline.org/donate. Keep a watch on our social media for upcoming virtual reunions, as well as announcements about future production. And on behalf of all of us at CCT, I'd like to raise a glass to all of the lovers out there and say happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you, my favorite couples. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we send you our love.
Thank
Kelly,
you for inviting me.
Kelly, say hi to the kid and your children too.
Oh,
Yeah.
And thank you.
Good night,
for doing
everybody.
This. It was fun.
It was fun.
This was fun.
It's fun.